This is Chuck Youngman with Controlling Automation. We are an ICS strategy consulting and technology company. I would like to present and provide details concerning a program we have put together for people responsible to manage automated assets and systems. The vision of this program is to provide you with a guided digital transformation and optimization of your system. Things have changed quite a bit over the last 30 years of automation platform innovation. Today, that rate of change has really picked up due to the advent and rapid acceleration of cloud computing, IoT, and PLC advances. There are some exciting new approaches to enable high-performance output from even old systems. Our focus, simply put, is that we want to deliver to you a high-functioning, simplified, and clean system architecture. We want to help you convert what you have over to that, and we are very passionate about deeply understanding what makes up your system and using our expertise to drive the improvements to accomplish this. In the end, we want your systems to be enabled to be highly available, optimized, and secure. This is a framework, training, and support system for correcting and organizing the layers of your automation systems and making it possible to migrate it to being secure and optimized. And we want you to have control of the technology that you have. Not just what you have now, but what's going to be coming. Because we strongly believe with the rate of change that we're in, that's going to mark our future is these changes and adoption of new technology at rates that may at times be very uncomfortable if we're not prepared for it. A set of principles that we use here, or approaches that we use, is as I stated before, we want to understand your systems, processes, and people. All those things work together to create how your system's used and what happens within it. We take the time necessary to develop deep understanding of all the aspects of your environment and systems. And of course, we do this with you. We learn your challenges and goals. We put ourselves in your shoes, and we work hard to understand where you want to go and what is in your way. And we deliver optimal competency to your people. We are not only bringing a technical expertise of these systems, but we also understand how people work together and what makes up high-functioning people. And we help coach and work together there to understand various people's personalities and being able to deliver not just information to them, but help them become more competent. With the first two steps, we develop a plan that will get you what you want, and we want to keep keeping your system secure, resilient, and optimized. Ultimately, you need to be able to give your operations group what they want, which is the output of your system. So, how many of these attributes right here does your system have? In our view of this, high-performing systems have at least these 5 classifications. They are highly secured, continuously available, the throughput is optimized, information is available everywhere, or information from everywhere is available, and it is continuously improved, or continuous improvement is a feature of it. Let's kind of go back through these. Today, regarding a system that's highly secured, there really is no other option. There's a very long trail of dependencies that have to be attended to accomplish this, and it's a very dynamic and moving target. But things are changing really rapidly, and depending on what sector you're in and what attention your system may bring, both from a commercial standpoint or in some cases national security, this is something that we have to start making very intuitive and a very natural part of us. For a system to be continuously available, the interest here is that downtime is expensive. Your system needs to run all the time, and if it doesn't, it needs to come back up quickly. And there's, of course, a lot of dependencies there too. That's why we have it listed here. Optimized throughput. Is every part doing as much as it could? Most of the time, we have found that it's not. And sometimes grabbing the last little bit of optimization is just not worth the money. But that's why it's at least worth looking at, especially if accomplishment in other areas has actually made it possible to get that done. Information from everywhere. With information being so readily available now from PLCs with all new systems, and a lot of the old systems going away, the information within the PLC is tag-based, and there are some great HMI visualizations, SCADA options out there that make it much easier to get to that information, and also some IoT advances has also made that very possible, and much easier than it has been in the past. And regarding continuous improvement, that really is a discipline that can be developed, but there's also some environmental changes that need to be made within the system in order to actually make the improvements. It's one thing to have the discipline to identify it and know what to do, but you also need to be able to make the changes within the system. Our mindset here is that ultimately your system needs to work, and your system is made up of many components, and really it's a system of systems. And it's really easy to talk theory and concept and should this, and this should be this or that should be that. But we put a lot of time into research and development. We test things, and we do our best, and we work hard to confirm the things that we believe. And we're always testing our assumptions, either talking to people or actually testing it out on systems on a particular example of a system before we push it forward. You can't always do that, but that is a tenet that we really strive to, because we believe if we do that, we will get closer to things actually working. All of us now have smartphones that do a lot of things really well, but they fail a lot. Simple things fail a lot, and because our environment is getting digitally complex and changing rapidly, we believe this research and development mindset can slow us down a little bit and ensure that the steps we're taking will actually lead to a situation where things work. And our little statement here: reducing how often your systems fail, making recovery faster when they do. And we believe the relationship of these things allows that to happen. We have a way of assembling all this together in a way where we believe these four things together create a foundation and a core for changing what has been an old paradigm. So today, with the hardware changing and the automation platforms changing and the information that's needed, it is imperative to end up with a connected system. The days of island thinking in automation systems, it's over, and it's time to safely get them connected and realize the benefit that can come from intelligent systems working within the same sets of data and communication networks. Clear processes. Everything happens inside processes. Those need to be understood and central to the modernization effort to get the benefits you need for the output of your system. In order to affect how things work together and that it's better, the way they work together needs to be documented and understood. Strong technicians. We don't get anywhere without the people that are working on these systems being strong. And people have, they're not just workers that can accomplish something. There's an emotional side to them. There is a skill-based side to them. There's the way they work with and through. There's a way they work with people. Some circumstances are better than others, but we can help you develop them to be highly capable of operating at more advanced levels. Most people want to. Your people are smart and can always know what to do. They can work better together and understand how to utilize each other's strengths. And the last one here is continuous optimization. Instead of the old school way of intermittent improvements, we integrate continuous improvement. We weave that through the various protocols and approaches that we take here. Our world and our environments have become very dynamic, and if we don't keep up, trouble is going to come. It will chase us down, and it will catch up with us. We have time to do this. We believe we're kind of out ahead, of where The problems could be coming, but we believe this is very important. Okay, so here we have a list of how we have divided our program up. This is what, as you can see here, if you start from on the upper row here, from left to right, and then go back over to the right and go to the left on the bottom row, you'll see that's kind of how a system is developed. The foundation includes the electrical cabinets, wiring, cabling, some of the less technical. It's almost a miscellaneous group, but it's area like clean. It's like making sure cabinets are clean and wires are labeled and cables are identified and cabinets are identified, like have labels on them and have a labeling scheme, and you can which this is part of the mapping part, but you can have electrical drawings and diagrams where everything can be tied together and understood. Sensors, it's kind of obvious, but in some situations we don't care about a proximity switch or a photo eye, but in other cases where you have a process instrument, these devices need to be managed in a greater way than what often they are. We need to know, what's the specification information on it, what parameters exist in it, what are those parameters, understanding the actual capability of the instrument or the sensor in the event it can do more for us. Moving on to networks, some plants have networks. They don't know where the cabling is going. We need to know that. We need to know what kind of networks we have, what are the various protocols that are being used, and potentially eliminate some of them and get things onto IP-based networks, and then getting good control of the hardware that's running it and those various aspects. The controllers group is the PLC and any other embedded controllers, understanding where they are, what they can do, what code is running in them, having spares for those, and just having at minimum a basic understanding of what's out there, and understanding the architecture of what's there for later consideration of how, if there's a way to either utilize functionality that hasn't been captured or to make changes in what is there. Visualization. Some of our HMIs and visualization systems or SCADA systems haven't been touched in a very long time. They may be confusing. The colors are confusing. The information may be wrong. The alarm information may be inaccurate or insufficient or untested. And nowadays there are some better options for enabling visualization of the system, either understanding what's going on and also being able to control it. Analytics. This is kind of an extension or a combination, really, of the controllers and visualization category, taking the information, the data that's being created in your system, and having it tell you something. We've been doing this, for years at some level. Nowadays, it's much easier to capture, store, and present more data points more often and in larger sets. And part of the way of managing this better is getting that data into common databases so that this information can all be related together and managed much better. There's also advance today with cloud computing and IoT of being able to use this information in a predictive maintenance or prescriptive maintenance manner, being able to anticipate things that are happening. So instead of alarming when a problem gets to a certain point, as conditions are developing, send out alarms that provide that potential forewarning that something is beginning to happen. The possibilities there are very broad, and it's kind of a simplistic way to put it. Mapping, how many systems have failed to maintain their documentation that may or may not have been correct in the as-built state when a line, machine, or modification was put in, but over time, the effort to keep the information maintained generally and most often falls away. It's very important to keep accurate electrical drawings, diagrams of various sorts. We need to understand what our systems look like, and it can bring you great benefit for future integrations, whether it's your own people doing it or other organizations, to be able to, for wherever that next change is going to come from, that they understand what is there. It also helps you understand and be able to answer questions about what your system is capable of, and of course, not to mention the troubleshooting possibilities. InfoSys, that's just short for information system. It changes everything when we start breaking down into the detail of the individual components that are making up our systems, managing tag information, managing I/O point information, and tying that to events that are happening within the system, being able to identify or itemize, index the various components, the sensors throughout the system, the VFDs or actuators, and being able to have even down the level of identifying each of those, having their own unique identifier, and then managing that information within a database. Some have this is often done within CMMS systems or maintenance planning systems. There's different ways that this can be done, but this is an area that we drive improvement in. DevOps, that's short for development and operations. It's kind of an IT term. We've brought it into this environment to be able to set up a circumstance where PLC code is easily changeable with rules. There needs to be control over that, but that functionally it's very easy to change the PLC code. You don't have to go hunting for the code. You don't have to go hunting for cables, go break out a chair or table and sit out in a loud, noisy, dirty, hot or cold environment. Being able to have access to that from controlled environments where it's easier to think and do smarter things. There's all kinds of rules and change processes and rules that you want to use there, but making it capable, making it possible to change visualization systems, having that code available, the configuration files, and having knowledge of how to do that. Whether it's your people or an integrator or an OEM that you have a relationship with, we help get you to that state. And then finally, cybersecurity, very important area. Most of this, a large part of this are some of the most basic things. Having control of username and passwords, only using systems, software and operating systems that are actively patched and in a reliable way, and understanding kind of how cybersecurity breaches can happen, understanding where the ingress and egress points are in your system, where's your networks, where do they have internet access, what are the external ports that are available, because in most cases people are able to just walk up and put USB drives in, and those have been proven to be very, very dangerous in terms of cybersecurity. The same is true for Ethernet ports. You can lock everything down, but if somebody can gain access to an Ethernet port, that creates a significant opportunity for a breach. Now, a lot of places don't really have to worry about that in one degree or another, but sometimes that kind of thinking is what leads to a lot of problems because we didn't anticipate that somebody was a target. And sometimes it's foolishness that can cause it. So, in order to kind of make our way through what our approach is, so this here is where we're going to go through after we've gone through the commercial side of this. So let's say you've chosen us to help you through all these things that we're talking about. This is how we would approach it at your site. The next thing we'll talk about is actually how we lead up into the beginning of this process. But once we have a contract established and a relationship established, we sit down and we will deeply understand what your problems are and or your targets to turn them into goals. So it's either resolution of problems and or what are your targets, where are you trying to get? And we'll turn those into goals that will become highly managed. That will be the thing that will go, that will drive our behavior, our decisions, our attention, our focus. From there, we will perform an assessment of the affected area. We will perform a very thorough assessment to deeply understand what you have and what dynamics are involved. Next, from there, with that information, with the goals and the information from the assessment, we will create a project with time-tested project management techniques, and we will develop that project to accomplish and get us to the goal. That's why the goal is always going to be so important here, because everything we do is going to be oriented around achieving that. So we'll spend some time and develop that real well. Fourth step is we'll actually perform the projects. And one of the natures of doing projects is that you don't, at the front side, you often don't know what the middle and later parts are going to look like. So we will create a project plan with what we can see, and as we go, that plan will be managed to get us to the goal set. And then at the end, we will complete or close that phase or iteration. Maybe that'll be it, or at that point we will go on to the next phases or the other goals. So once the scope has been accomplished, we test for the targeted results. So we're gonna confirm that what we believe we have is there, and we will gain your agreement with that and make sure that what was intended has occurred. And if the goals are achieved, we shut things down or move to the next phase, like I said. So leading up to that point, which is kind of where we're at right now, would kind of be this sort of initial meeting side. We're not meeting. This is just information I'm providing you. But the next step after this, we would just discuss what you're looking for, and we can see if we're a fit for each other. Our approach is a little bit unique. We can discuss where our approach comes from, but we have a lot of confidence in it. It's been a very carefully developed approach, but it's during that meeting where we'll see if our approach matches the environment that you're in and fits your expectations. We do most things with a proposal contract basis. We really like that because it allows us to document all of our expectations. And so our conversations, where we're trying to get, what we're trying to achieve, we can capture it in a very clearly communicated way. Everybody can kind of look at that and massage it, turn it into the thing that we both look at and go, yes, this represents what we're looking for, what our expectations are, who's going to do what, and everything along that line. The proposal will then turn into a contract as the work is chosen, and then that will become the document that we're working towards. From the step before, that's where we'll have the goals in there, and we will lay that out in a way that it's realistic and reasonable and accomplishable, and it will that you can get the result inside your system, and we can match up what we are bringing to an actual changed result in your environment. From there, we will do the activity planning. So we'll take the scope of work that would have been developed from these previous steps, put it into a rough schedule, and I had mentioned this before, but as we progress, more will be understood. This is kind of a rough. This is the rough side. This is the project management, the project creation part. We'll handle it into more detail, but this will just kind of get us rolling in this direction to figure out the kind of a rough order of magnitude where we're at and where we need to go, what it's going to take. And then we will talk about getting a team put together. It may be simple work. There may not be much of a team, or there may be a lot of people involved, and that's a very important part to get everybody on the same page and get a team glued together and get everybody operating in the roles that they need to be achieving in. These are some places where this is kind of a mixture of where the protocol, the understanding, the knowledge, the experience has come from, / where the work has been done at here. And all of these are very different environments. Coca-Cola, food and beverage manufacturer, of course. Lots of high volume output. NGL is they produce they produce NGL liquids. They process that and sell that on. OSCO is a aerospace manufacturer, and they have systems where they have to actually clean processed water, and we were involved with helping them get that system brought up to date. Kimberly-Clark, very multifaceted organization. They, of course, produce a lot of things that we're familiar with. So they have a manufacturing side, and then they have also, on some of their plants, they have a distribution center connected. And so there's those two parts married together. And the parts that we've most been involved in there was the logistics side, in getting taking away from the manufacturing and putting into the warehouse and out to a trucking operation. Dematic, previously Siemens Dematic, and they have now purchased Edgeman Automation. There was a lot of work that has come from there that has helped our understanding of how world-class organizations approach manufacturing excellence and engineering control systems and making them operate in a way that produces the value of very high-end systems that's really needed from the expenditures that are made, and using a very manufacturing excellence minded approach to stitching together protocols where the information that is available from these systems is provided. And Massport is actually, that's Massachusetts Port Authority, was a maintenance contract there with them for their facilities, baggage system. It was really a very comprehensive system there of things. But that's where a lot of integration with the people aspect of things and how people work together and how they can achieve in very tight circumstances. So it's just kind of a quick overview of what our experience breadth is from here. Our values. This is where we have took a look at, what are the things that are most important to us, and we're not cliche, and things that we really do put our heart and soul into here, and that is respect to people. We enjoy working with people, solving problems, and interacting with you. People have such different approaches to things, and their perspectives are sometimes unexpectedly surprising. And we've learned to listen to everyone. Not everyone has great ideas. Some people are trying. They're learning. They're still growing. In some situations, it can get a little out there. But we really do enjoy working with people and drawing on that. Number 2, situational sensitivity. We seek to understand what will and won't work in particular situations. The political environment or the corporate environment often has significant limitations from one to another, or significant differences, and we seek to understand that, especially when we're dealing with the people aspect of this, that we really want to find what's going to work well. Number 3, teaching. We want you to know what to do, and we enthusiastically share what we know with those who are interested. We love sharing what we know. We don't seek to keep back any proprietary knowledge. We really want to be able to help people get their understanding to be able to contribute. And number 4, rooting the defective. We do not like junky things in our way. We like finding those and working on approaches to get rid of them. So there's a couple. This is the primary option that we use here, which is a support subscription. And we use this method is what we use to install the operating intelligence protocols. The typical time frame for completion is 3 to 36 months, and that's very broad. It's because every situation is so different in the size and the nature of it, and it of course depends on who's involved and what their abilities are. We do provide an option that if things stall out, that we just kind of came up with this thing, set it to low power. We can so that we can stay engaged, but bring the activity level way down, just because we know things can happen, and with budgets and whatnot, and so we like to provide that as an option. There's 3 different approaches, or really there's 2. One of them is just kind of an adaptation of the other. All the way to the right here, course only. We can provide just information, and we do that by remotely onboarding. We provide a digital course with weekly workshops for a monthly fee. And then the 2 to the left here, single site and full system. It's really the same thing. It just, one's for a single site, one's for full. And that is, we'll actually go to site, do the onboarding there. That also includes a digital course, the weekly workshops. But then that is what most of what we've been talking about is the project guidance and the full progression, where we are deeply involved with the changes that are occurring and involved with migrating all these principles in and making the changes, the corrections, the modifications, the modernizations. We're involved with the accomplishment of that and helping manage who's doing what at that level. Now, if this structure doesn't really fit your organization or your approach, we do have these other more individualized options here. Number 1, installation contracts. That's just if there's one particular aspect of our protocol here that you're interested in, we can just grab a piece of that, do it, and get out. That kind of approach. Number 2, service visit. That's just a simple, can you come out here and do this or that, or look at this or that. That's just a real simple option to get us out there to help you out. Number 3 is consulting, more of an ad hoc approach where it doesn't really fit in the framework of what we're talking about, but you like what we have to offer and you're interested in our perspective. This is what we can get in under that. Number 4, and this one we're really intrigued with, knowing how different each operation can be. We really like this for being able to create stitch together a custom training that really can look like a lot of different things based on what your problems are, what's happening, and the kind of people that you have, how the way they work, how they would consume training, what the best presentation format would be, this really goes down how large to make a module, whether it's on site, there's all kinds of different ways this can be done, but we're really excited about that. Number 5, kind of an adaptation of that, except that's where we go out and find either we go out and find a subject matter expert, or you have one of your own and we help them or work with them to put together a training to resolve or address a specific thing that's happening. And number 6 here is you may just want information. There may be a part of your system that you don't want to make changes to your existing system that's there. We can come in. We can add the necessary hardware and sensors. We can put it up into our cloud resources and just provide you with information, and then that's provided as in a subscription format. So, thank you for listening. We are really excited about our protocol. We really think that this will help you accomplish fixing issues, problems you have right now, or getting to reaching goals or things that you're going after right now. And we also believe that it is going to that our approaches will protect you into the future with changes that have been occurring, are occurring, and will occur. So we really believe in this statement. Chaos is solvable, and we are excited to work together to make that true for you. Ways to get a hold of us, controllingautomation.com is a great place to get some more information. You can get in touch with me, Chuck.Youngman at controllingautomation.com. This is actually my cell number, 918-852-5796. We're out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you can also find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Chuck Youngman. Well, thank you for listening, and hope to hear from you.